My fellow survivors, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with the Vegan Zombie. And you know what? You never know when the zombie apocalypse is coming to a town near you, and food might be hard to come by. So you might have to grow your own food, and it all starts right here. Today, we are going to show you how to grow your own food, starting from seeds. Now, of course, in any major disaster such as a zombie apocalypse, you're going to have to learn to find ways to get your own food. You can't just go to the grocery store. So we're going to show you how to grow your own food from seed, because you know what? It just might save your life. We're going to start with two products. We've got topsoil in this bin, and we have peat moss in this bin. We're going to do 2 parts topsoil to 1 part peat moss, or 2 of these to 1 of these. And the peat moss helps serve as a way to drain the soil so that it's not too wet for the seed to start. And it makes a nice, light, fluffy, airy soil. So we're going to mix the 2 together right now. And make sure when you guys are buying the products at the garden centers or the Home Depots or wherever you can get your products, read the back of the label and make sure it's just soil. It doesn't have any kind of poultry manure or cow manure, anything that could have been tampered with, you know, some huge, terrible company. So just after you pour the peat moss into the topsoil, just give it a good mix for about a minute or so, not even. When I start my seeds, I like to use containers made out of peat, which is just something that is biodegradable. You can actually put right in the ground and it'll disintegrate, or the roots will power right through it. Dip it right in here, spread soil over the top, and voila. You don't need to use peat containers because once the roots are strong enough, you can pull the plugs right out of any kind of small pot that you might have at home. This is just the way I do things around my neck of the woods. Once all my peat pots are filled, I'm going to actually put a little bit of water over the whole thing, only to keep it from making the seed fall all the way down to the bottom, because if the seed's that far down, it's never going to germinate. It's really important to read the backs of your seed packages. Some seeds want a 1/4 inch, some seeds want a 1/2 inch, some seeds want to be buried all the way like an inch below. So make sure before you plant whatever it is you're going to plant, read the label. I have a few that are going to be a 1/4 inch and a few that are going to be a 1/2. So I'm going to press it down just a little bit for a 1/4 inch. Okay, that's my 1/4 inch one. And my 1/2 inch, I'll press down a little harder. Perfect. Anybody want some muddy waffles? When you're out there looking for seeds and you want to go organic, again, make sure you do a little research on the company. I went with Livingston Seed because they're not owned by Monsanto, and they just happen to be a truly organic seed company. They offer non-organic seeds, but this is their organic line. And I got some green squash right here. I think what I'm going to do in my garden is I'm just going to do 5 seeds of each plant, because I have a small garden. So there's that. Now, I have like 5 friends around somewhere, so I'm going to give these seeds to them and let them grow their own squash as well. Maybe 4, I don't know. I lose friends really often. Yellow squash. Yellow, 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 and yellow. I've already forgotten where I put my seeds, so that's why these little labels are really helpful. Yellow, going here, green here. Bears, beets, Battlestar Galactica. I'm seeding green squash, yellow squash, and beets. I like to start green beans right in the garden because it only takes 7 to 14 days to germinate, and within a month I have string beans. So I wait until probably the middle of May to throw those in the ground, maybe the end of May, depending on where you live, of course. The weather is really unpredictable here in Syracuse. In May I could get frost, and frost is very bad for your produce plants. Our seeds are all in place and we're ready to cover it up with some soil, so just delicately spread it over. You don't want to disturb the seed. Make sure your seed is right in the center of your pot too, especially if you're using a peat pot or a small little plastic pot. Just because you want it to grow right up the center, it'll be really difficult for the roots to grow if it's jammed up against something. All our seeds are covered. Now we just have to water it in. Now this is a really critical point because you want to make sure you don't overwater something and drown it. But you want to give it a healthy dose for the first time. This is the first time of seeing water since Lord knows how long. Use something like this that'll fan over it. You don't want to use a lot of water pressure because you don't want to wash the seed right out. And you might want to do this 2 or 3 times depending. Just let it soak down, maybe do it one more time, and then you'll be fine. Is it ready yet? To check for water, what I like to do is lift it up now and you find out how heavy it is. You see how wet it is on top. Tomorrow, give it a little lift. If it feels really light, you know it needs water. If it looks really light on top, give it a little drink. Just this is where you have to be really careful not to overwater something, because the seed will start to germinate, and then too much water, the roots won't develop. So just keep a close eye on it. This is a very critical part. If you don't water your seeds correctly, you will die. And so will the plants. I also bought some herbs. I've got some parsley, some basil, and some rosemary. And I'm gonna put these in this little container right here. I got one for parsley, one for basil, and one for rosemary. Basically treat this the same way that you did the pea pots. You know, push down. For the herbs, it's about 1/8 of an inch. So you just push down a very little bit, cover it with a little bit of soil, water it in, and keep an eye on it. Make sure if you put it in something like this, it has proper drainage. It should have some holes in it, and then it has a little tray. If you overwater it, it goes down into the tray and not all over your paperwork for your tax returns or something. After you water this in, you're going to want to put it someplace near direct sunlight. It doesn't have to be in direct sunlight until the plants start to come out of the soil. You're going to want to keep it around 70 degrees, 75 degrees, 80 degrees is fine. You don't want it to go really cold. And you know, you can avoid this step altogether if the zombie apocalypse is not near you right now by going to Home Depot or a garden center and buying actual plugs of the plants before you put it in your garden. However, just be aware that they tend to irrigate their crops. They tend to water the seeds in with products like Miracle-Gro. So it is getting some sort of non-organic product before it goes to your garden. Is it going to affect your fruits or your vegetables? I don't think so, but I ain't no scientist, you know what I'm saying? In theory, the roots will take up the Miracle-Gro or whatever kind of chemical that it's drinking and use that in the plant. Once the flower comes out, that's when you want to be the most careful with what you put into the roots, because that is what you're eating. You're going to be eating the flower that's going to turn into the fruit or the vegetable in most cases, obviously. So just be aware of that. If you do it this way, you're avoiding the whole Miracle-Gro dilemma or whatever kind of fertilizer somebody else is using, and you have complete control from germination to harvest. So I hope this video was very helpful. If you guys want to see more of it, just let us know in the comments below. I'm going to show you once I put it in my garden and just walk you through what I do on the average gardener's day. Okay guys, I guess that's it. So I'll see you on the next gardening video. And for those of you new to the site, we got our brand new cookbook out, so make sure that you stop by our website and pick it up there. We also have a downloadable version, the ebook. It's a cheaper version and you can get it immediately, so make sure you check those out. Keep a close eye on it. This is a very critical part. If you don't